I am now in St. Moritz in Switzerland. This is kind of where my team trains when we have like a lot of races in Europe or a big race coming up that we need to kind of, adjust for the times and whatnot. So ever since the trials, it's kind of just been, getting a good solid amount of training in up here at in St. Moritz. So yeah.
All good. You qualified for the Olympics in Tokyo, and then injury kept you from running. Um,
Mhm.
it's now, you qualified, you're healthy, it's going to be a reality. What's it been like as you think about Paris and kind of mentally get yourself ready for that?
Yeah, it's just really it's been really interesting just kind of like conceptualizing that it's actually happening for real this time. I think I got like a lot of my nerves out of the way in Tokyo just because like, you go through it once, then you come back and now it's like I'm a little more used to what's happening and I know what it's gonna be like, but it's still just so much better now that I know that at least pardoning anything awful happening the next couple weeks, that I will be getting to represent my country at, the highest level. So it's been really exciting and really fun and just I think like the nerves will start kicking in, I'm sure, once the race gets closer. But for now just kind of enjoying it for what it is.
How did that experience of being injured and having to cope with that and coming back, how did that kind of change your perspective this year as you approach the whole process?
Yeah, it was really tough because I feel like, even back then I wasn't even sure I was going to make the Olympics, so I kind of like barely, not barely, but just last one in at third place at the trials. Uh, and even then I was like, I'm not even sure I can like do super well at the Olympics, but to still get injured at that and not even get the chance really hurt because I was just like, well, now I'm never gonna know like where I was at that point in my running career. But I think now I've gained like a lot more confidence to not only make the Olympics, but also like make the final and be like a serious contender to get a medal. And so I feel like a lot of it is just going to be very I don't know, I sort of see it as like a little bit of a redemption for that year in Tokyo because I really wanted to do at least something in Tokyo to make all the people who are watching me proud. But now I get to really do that in Paris.
Well, you mentioned all the people watching you. How many people will you have in Paris and family and others?
Mhm. I think there'll be at least 16, 17 people I know in Paris, mostly family, and then a handful of friends of mine, and just hundreds of people watching back at home. So plenty of supporters.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your background. Obviously, here in Louisville and Manuel, you didn't go to school to be some kind of athlete. That wasn't, it didn't seem like in your head. And yet, I've seen where you said track found you. Kind of describe how it all came about because it could easily have happened that you never ran track, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's a funny story that I've always loved telling because yeah, like when I went into at DuPont Manual High School, I was just like really focused on, my studies and just like by then I already kind of started to figure out what I wanted to do as like a career, which was like orthodontics and like kind of mapping myself out for that because I tend to kind of plan a decent amount. But it was just because I was in PE and my PE coach had us running miles for just for a grade fitness and whatnot. And he saw that I would run pretty fast. Usually just so I could get to the McDonald's first before everyone. It's like a little post-run treat. Um, and he kind of told the cross country and track coach about me, and he kind of approaches me in the middle of one of my classes my freshman year, and it's just like, hey, you should really come out and join track. And I was like, no, I don't think I really will. It's not really my kind of thing. But he was like, come on, just give it a chance. Like you never know. And at the time I was, just very like, I don't know. I didn't think anything would come of it, even though I thought like, oh, it might be fun. You never know. Um, and even throughout high school, when I got better and better, I was still just like, yeah, it's still something fun I do in high school. And then when I got into it for college, I was like, well, it's something fun I'll do in college, and then I'll kind of be done with it. But I've been surprising myself every step of the way, and just now I'm doing it professionally, like I never thought I could or would or knew anything about. So it's been a really interesting journey, but I'm glad I made the decision I made to actually join it. So yeah.
How is it different doing it as a job as opposed to just, doing it after class or doing it as part of your school? But now you're professional, and how have you found that you've kind of made progress doing it that way?
Yeah, it's a little easier kind of just when I'm just doing one thing. I think school was always quite demanding, whether in high school or like in college at Notre Dame, and I was very just, put that first before everything because I wanted to succeed at that the most. But now it's like, oh well, now it's just running, and I can just focus on putting all my energy to running, like getting all the sleep I need, getting extra treatment or stretches done or whatever it takes really to be um the best that I can be is really just what's important now. And I think that it's been a lot easier because, before it was like I had other priorities, but now this is my only priority. So I've been very, very grateful for what pro running has done. I think I have a lot of friends who have like, like real jobs, but like, and they're always just like complaining about, having a real job. I think everyone's been there. So I feel very fortunate to kind of just be like, oh, I wake up in the morning, I go on my little run or workout, and then I'm like done by like noon, and that's it. So it's been really nice. It's been really nice, and I'm going to appreciate every year I have of it while I have of it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, your parents probably never dreamed of this for you. They probably dreamed of the profession you were originally pointing for, to go into dentistry or whatever, orthodontic or whatever you were looking to do. How do they feel about having your running career here as a next little step before you pursue something else?
I think they've really come around to it. I feel like when I was even doing it in high school and college, they were like, "Well, make sure this doesn't like take away from your studies and whatnot." But now that I just do it as a job, they're just like, "Oh, well, that's cool too." I think they're very like they've gotten like very chill about it.
Yeah.
And just like, oh yeah, we're super proud of you and this is awesome. So we'll support you wherever. I go to a lot of my races and whatnot. And just I think they love just like traveling to other places just to get to see me race, but also just, see the world and whatnot. So I think they've been really grateful just to been really proud of me, I think, just to really be able to do what I do. And they're just like, whenever you're ready, I guess, whenever you're ready to start your real job, go for it, I guess. But because I know, I mean, they know as much as I do. It's just like, running was never a forever thing for me, but it can't really be for anyone. So yeah.
How often have you surprised yourself in the last few years, just at hitting milestones that you have, or even being able to do it professionally and getting to the level that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think just I don't know, I probably surprised myself a little too much. I think I feel like all of last year, especially my first year as a professional, was just like filled with so much success that it was just like, wow, I thought like I was gonna be good. I didn't think I'd be like this good. And now that I'm kind of like used to it, I think I'm not surprising myself as much, which is like, kind of nice, but it's kind of fun to really be like keeping yourself on your toes a little bit. But no, it's been a lot of surprises for sure. A lot of good surprises, I think, and hopefully going to keep those up as my running career continues.
How much does that confidence develop, and how important is it? Because I know it's different when you're a miler or a distance runner than maybe, you watch sprinters walk out there and you got 12 guys. We're all the fastest guy in the world. We're going, but that confidence is important. And how much has that started to kind of make you more comfortable when as you compete and move forward? Is there a part of that to it?
No, yeah, the confidence is definitely the most important part, I think, for any like runner who wants to be at like the very top. I think a lot of it, especially in distance races, a lot of it is so mentally focused because you're running for like a lot longer than like, a sprinter would. So you have to like kind of be like mentally like reassuring yourself like the entire race pretty much. And just like, yes, this hurts, but like I know I'm good enough and I know I can keep going. And so I think I've really grown a lot over the years. In high school, I was just a nervous wreck. And even in college, it took me a while to kind of like overcome that versus coming to my pro career, I had an amazing first year that made me realize like, no, I am like as good as I think I am. And I really just need to like keep that in mind no matter what happens because you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have bad races, but as long as you stay confident, you can like bounce back from that really quickly. And that's really important for like any year, but especially for an Olympic year where like things aren't always gonna be perfect, but you can still like make sure that you're gonna have the outcome that you want when it's most important.
How would you describe your running style, whether it's the tactics or just what your strengths are in the course of a given race?
Oh, it definitely depends on the race. I think I'm very strength based and I think I run at the front very well, but I think I still have like points of improvement, I'm sure, but I think a lot of where I really excel is like a more honest kind of race to race where it's like, we're not 1500s can go a lot of different ways depending on like who's in the race, what time of year is it and whatnot. But I think a more honest race always suits me a little more because I'm going to be able to continue pushing off of an honest pace. Versus if it's like a slow pace and then everyone's in it and it gets a little crowded, then I like, have issues. But um usually most of the races I run at this level are pretty honest, pretty fast. So it kind of like tends to work out for me most of the time. But there's so many different tactics, so many things to keep in mind for a distance race that, I kind of wish things were a little simpler sometimes, but I would take away a lot of the fun of it. So
Yeah. What kind of distance do you run in a given day? I think people would be interested in knowing. I mean, as far as that.
I think the normal day distance is probably like 14 miles, usually dispersed over two separate runs, so like not all at once. But yeah, that's usually like an easy day. Even on like workouts or long runs, they kind of tend to like fall within 14 plus or minus a couple miles. So that's usually, yeah, and then we try to get it around like 85 to 90 miles a week or so. So
What's your like just average cruising mile? Not in competition.
I'd say like around 650 is
Yeah,
cruising. That's
I guess easy going.
pretty a good pace on a good easy day.
Yeah. Um, beyond the training and all of that, there's the whole pageantry of the Olympics, the opening ceremonies. You're getting to be around athletes from all over, and you've been a part of a lot of international competition, so that part of it probably isn't new. But how much are you looking forward to all of that part of the Olympic Games?
No, I'm really looking to enjoy it like a lot, especially after my race. I think when I have like that stress kind of off my shoulders, just to really like take in what the whole of the games versus like just my race. I think like there's the Olympics are so unique and like how many sports it brings all together in one place. So it's fun to get to hang out with other athletes that aren't just track athletes and just like see what they're about, see what life is like for them, and generally like see them do well. And so I think I'll be enjoying a lot of it post my final. And just I will be attending the closing ceremony. I don't think I'll be doing the opening one. But yeah, no, I'll just be taking it all for what it is and definitely enjoying it. But the race is definitely the most important thing before getting to really enjoy the actual Olympics.
Is there any notion? I know your parents are from Ethiopia. Is that correct?
Mhm, yes.
You grew up in the United States. You're running for the United States, but just caring to be able to represent that country. You're also representing your family and school and hometown, all the towns you lived and all of that. Does any of that mean something more to you?
Yeah, yeah, it means a lot to me just to be able to you know, show and like make all of those people that I've interacted with and have supported me through my very long life at this point, and just being able to make them proud means like a lot to me because, I wouldn't be here without all those people. I think every person I've met along the way who continues to support me to this day has been like an important factor in just like making sure that I still believe in myself no matter what, and that I get to like the Olympic stage that I'm at right now. So it means a lot to me to just really like kind of have their support just really pay off in like one giant huge race and celebration of just like the best athletes in the world. So I'm really happy to just be representing, my hometown Louisville, Boulder that I live in now, and like Notre Dame and just my family and everything else that has really allowed me to kind of get to the level I'm at now.
It's kind of a fortunate time to have an Olympic year because things are so crazy in the States right now. Otherwise, I think this gives something for people to kind of rally around a little bit. And athletes are kind of fortunate that you're away a little bit. I know you watch what's going on back here, but it is a good feeling, I think, probably as an athlete that you can be part of something that everybody can kind of watch and get behind. I don't know.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the Olympics does huge things. I think it just brings everyone together in like a really cool way that I think I'm gonna like truly experience this time because you know when I was in Tokyo, that was COVID and COVID was a weird time also. But I think now to have like the real Olympics I'll be competing in is just like really, really exciting and just to have like everyone looking forward to that and so many people that I haven't talked to in a long time are just like, I'll be watching you at the Olympics, you're gonna kill it. This is really good to hear and just, a great way to kind of get back in touch with people and whatnot.
Just a few more. Did any in any way did the disappointment from Tokyo not getting to compete, did that spur you a little more in your running after that? I don't know that getting back to the Olympics necessarily, but just rebounding from that and coming back, did that drive you at all?
No, yeah. I mean that whole next year I kind of struggled a lot with just injury issues and whatnot. And so it was very hard mentally to just kind of be like, man, like I did this in Tokyo and now like I'm still just like not really improving the way I want to. But I think it really spurred me on my first year as a pro, just like, all right, I'm finally professional now. Like I need to kind of just like be the person that I know I can be when like all the times or when from the time that I knew I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean. It's like I know who I am, and I kind of want to get back to that when my career started, and it definitely kind of spurs me on whenever I think about what happened to me and stuff. So, yeah.
Um, Obviously you want to do this professionally, I would guess, as long as you can, see where it goes and how far it takes you. Is your post racing plan the same as it was just going into racing, that you'll do whatever you need educationally to go back to dentistry, or will you do something different, or have you even thought that far yet?
Oh, I have thought that far. I've kind of just been like, yeah, I will sort of reapply to my dental schools that some I applied to before I decided to go pro. Um, do all the requirements necessary again and just get it ready and then kind of go for it. I was thinking I'd probably honestly finish around like 28 Olympics or like the 29 or something like that, but it just kind of depends. I think running's a weird thing, but I feel like that's always kind of been like my like, okay, maybe now it's time to start dental school and whatnot. So I think it's gonna be hard kind of getting back to all of it, but I'm a smart guy, so I'll figure it out.
Yeah. And now I have to ask you about this because I read about it, but you have a pet tortoise. Is that correct?
I do,
Has to be some
yes.
symbolism in that, as being as fast as you are. But what do you learn from your tortoise, I guess?
Well, I've learned how to be an absolute menace because that's what he is most of the time. If he's hungry, he's a menace. So I've learned to always eat enough, and getting enough nutrition has always been the most important thing. But no, I love my tortoise. His name is Tyro, and he's just chilling back at home while my roommate watches him. So he'll be cheering me on too. I'm sure of it. So, but yeah, I love him. I like the irony too. That was kind of a big part of it.
Uh, do you get back to Louisville very much?
Not as much as I'd like to, or as much as my parents would like to either. It's usually just like in the postseason, I'll kind of like take a week in Louisville and like Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot, I'll be back. But like once the season gets going, like in the spring and summer, it's pretty hard for me to get back home.
Well, Yard, I sure appreciate you taking the time, and I know a lot of people are watching you and rooting for you, and we'll be excited to cover you, and hopefully it's good news all the way.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'm very excited too, and I'm sure it will be.